This is Get Inspired with Dr. Barb show. Hello, everyone. Welcome. So nice to have you on my show again. This is Get Inspired with Dr. Barb, and we always have some amazing guests on Get Inspired with Dr. Barb show. Today, it's no difference. We have an incredible guest. I'm so excited about talking to her because honestly, I don't know anybody like that who would be doing what she's doing. And it has a lot to do with innovation in education and all different levels. And it's just so exciting to be able to hear from her. She has an amazing company. Her name is Dr. Gina Anderson. And I have to just make sure that I say it all correctly. Gina is a co-founder and CEO of amazing company. It's called Luma Brighter Learning. And the area the company is taking care of is transportation, logistics, supply chain, and storage. But Gina also is an author, and you also, Gina, have your own podcast, and you are also active in all kinds of other areas of expertise too. And if you would like to add a little bit more to this introduction, I would really appreciate it. And also, I have to mention this, we are friends.
Yes. No, you did a fantastic job. I think,
Thank you.
really for me, I'm just passionate about helping and changing people's lives. That's my mission, and that's what I'm driven by. I was driven by that at a very young age, which helped me really focus on the goals on how to get where I am today and studying the human mind and the brain and learning science and education. So I am so pleased to be on your podcast where you're really focused on being
Thank
inspired
you.
in education. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. I am really grateful to you because you're doing something amazing in this area. I mean, it is education. It's just a different field from what I am focused on, which is I am more about higher education and kindergarten through high school. But if you could tell our audience what is the specific innovation and product, what it is that Luma Brighter Learning is actually doing. Some of them you
Yes,
probably don't know.
so I love that. So most of education in our industry in logistics and transportation is content. So think about delivering video content specifically to adults, and that's really what it has been. But there's a problem that we tried to solve, and that problem is helping drivers and helping organizations beyond the drivers, so warehouse workers, dock workers, and so forth, leaders, remember information because this isn't it's kind of like going to an emergency room, right? Like you want the doctor not to ask AI or ask something how to fix your problem. You don't want a driver on the road carrying an 80,000 pound or driving an 80,000 pound vehicle, having to try to remember information that was passive and not authentic. And so what we created is a technology, it's a learning management system that incorporates all the different interaction modes that really customize and individualize learning to touch not only the mind but the heart. And you have to have both the psychology and the science behind any learning experience. And the trouble is that most people don't know how to create that. So we created a technology that you can set up and incorporate and have it help you kind of be an assistant to help you facilitate these types of experiences. And it's life-changing. And I love being part of revolutionizing an
Yeah.
industry that really needs it.
That's just amazing. Let's say if someone who works in transportation drives a truck, they are they are taking the training. If you could kind of like give us a glimpse or take us on that training, what do they do? Like, what do they
Yeah,
see? How that
yeah.
works? I mean, we're not going to be able to like run a simulation here or anything, but it's just kind of, you can still build a visual picture on
Yeah,
our
I
audience's
certainly,
minds. Yeah.
yeah, I certainly can walk through it. For example, let me first tell you what someone would do before if they're not using Luma, and then I
Uh-huh.
will walk through what will happen if they do
Great.
use Luma. So, if they're not using Luma, typically what happens is they sit in a classroom for hours on end listening to passive content. After they leave the classroom, they're provided perhaps a video on be safe in a parking lot. And really that's it. Or stop
Wow.
texting and driving, and that's it. They get, and then after that, every month they're getting generic content like be safe in a parking lot or stop texting and driving. And
Yeah.
we know that doesn't change behaviors. So with Luma, what we do is we help fleets break down the content. So it's not 3 days and 8 hours of content delivered in passive mode. So for example, what might happen is a driver may get a psychology survey that asks them if they're displaying behavior, if they understand that there is a behavior that they need to change. For example, if a driver is texting and driving, and this applies to anyone who's in a car, if you're grabbing your phone and you're texting and driving, you know you shouldn't be doing that. That isn't information processing, right? That's not
Hmm.
like you have to know not you know not to do it, but you continue to do it. So the first step is learner to self. You have to engage the learner in a learner to self experience to determine if there is a need to change, and they have to understand why at that organization there is a desire to change. They have to make a commitment to that change. So the first step would have them do a learner to self engagement. The second step would be then to have a coach, somebody that is at the organization, work with them to talk through whether it's a phone call, whether it's like this, a
Hmm.
Luma Live meeting, to review that and have that relationship with that learner. There is work to this. There has to be human connection and buy-in to have this experience really be meaningful. The next thing is, like, let's say it's about a parking lot. In the truck, they can get dropped an actual immersive experience of the actual parking lot. Think of Google Maps. The problem with Google Maps is that sometimes the buildings aren't even built yet, or maybe the building has changed, or you drop it and there's nothing there. But with Luma Immersion, someone at the organization can go out to that parking lot, scan the parking lot, identify the hazards, show the user that, okay, you know you need to be safe in a parking lot. This is the parking lot that you're going to be at this afternoon. They can see it. Okay, they know there's a yellow pole in the parking lot, and they're going to be alerted just in time learning that that is going to happen. That is so much more meaningful, and that's only 3 steps. We know the average learner, this is going to continue. So there's more steps beyond that, but that's learner to self, that's learner to content, that's
Yeah.
learner to instructor. Now the drivers, you can do learner to learner after that and set up a discussion where drivers who've been at that parking lot or who have experienced that customer can collaborate and talk about their experiences. And that's very meaningful because we know that when you are able to engage with multiple learners, you can fire the strength of that synapse even more at a retention standpoint, that you're going to remember that. And so this idea of using authentic learning in that way is so impactful. So this can all be scheduled and it can be triggered by events
Hmm.
automatically. So through the technology, you can incorporate all of these points that we all know as educators, but you can automate it, whether it happens when they enter into a certain location or it can be manually done depending on the instructor's preference. But that is, so different than what's being done today. And what we're seeing is increased safety, increased engagement,
Hmm.
saving time and money, and improved education outcomes. That's why at Luma we have close to 100% retention of our clients. I mean, that's
That's
not by
amazing.
chance. It's not by chance. It's because they're seeing changes at their organization where not only the drivers and all the learners are committed to the educational experience and engaged, but they're safe. They're safer. They're seeing
Hmm.
increased safety measures because authentic learning, when you can capture, it takes less than 5 minutes, Barbara. This isn't something that's going to take, it's like, well, great, Gina, it's going to take me 8 months to set up.
Yeah.
No, it actually doesn't. It literally, you take your cell phone for the authentic content, or you could do dash cam videos. You could put in
Yeah.
dash cam. There's a lot of ways of creating authentic content today with technology through Luma that is easy.
This is something that actually goes to the heart of teaching and learning, and why sometimes teaching and learning globally and at all levels of education is not working because the experience is not there. Experiential learning, that is the phrase that just was just going through my mind when you were describing this. It's authentic, it's real, it's concrete. There's a concrete scenario. right? Even a concrete place, and it's experience, and that's what learning should be about, and that's what
Absolutely.
you are doing, and that is why I see that this would be applicable also to other areas of learning, right? From pre-kindergarten to high school and beyond. Experiential learning is just so
Absolutely.
needed. And will you get experiential learning just by sitting in the classroom and reading from the books or teacher talking? Probably not.
Right. And you have to like think about the learner at the core in the center of the experience. You know, I was a special educator really early
Right.
on in my degree in my career, and I thought to myself like, this is great. This is great in theory. I have 38 students in my classroom. How in the world am I going to individualize learning? And the
Yeah.
technology, and that's always been in the top and forefront of my mind. And with technology, you can actually do it, and you don't lose that human component because the instructor is a coach right there along with the learner, and that's where you spend the time. But each experience can be unique based on interest, based on experience,
Hmm.
and based on what they're actually well with adult learning, what they're actually going to go do. You know, delivering something to the port of Charleston is very specific on what they need to do. So yeah, absolutely.
I love it also because you use technology to help in authentic learning. And unfortunately, sometimes technology, maybe in some schools, is just not used like that. Kids use technology to, yeah, just to use it as a word processor to maybe type an essay or something, or maybe learn how to type, but it's still not used in a way that helps authentic learning. And also, when I hear you describing and taking us on like what this learning looks like, which is really important to kind of imagine, it is a little bit like gaming, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So we incorporate game-based education in part of it so the learners can also earn points
Yeah.
as they go through certain aspects depending on what the organization wants them to do. Now, external motivators don't motivate everyone, right? Some people don't
Mhm.
really want to do that, but the idea is that they can incorporate company stores, they can incorporate, we have a partnership with Best Buy. For example, they can go in and trade points in, and so they
Mhm.
have leaderboards, and the drivers, the learners in general, love to compete in the leaderboards. Like they want to
Wow.
see how far they can go. They can earn points for being safe. They have safety
Yeah.
bonuses. So not only internal motivators, external can also help too, as you know. So
Yeah.
combining both of those can really enhance for all age of learners,
I
from
love it. There's
little
even more
bitties to
about,
adults. Yeah.
there's so much gaming here that you incorporated. And again, all of us is like just so slow as far as entering the schools, but you're doing such amazing work in this area, really. And there's so much applicability that I can see in other areas of education. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah, we didn't mention much about your background because you have all kinds of backgrounds and it started in education. You were not CEO and co-founder of Luma 20 years ago or even 15, I guess. Can you tell us when did it all started as far as Luma founding it? When
Yeah.
did the beginning happen?
Yeah, so we founded Luma in 2008. I was getting my doctorate degree
Yeah.
in learning science and also in instructional systems technology. And if you think about it, it was very early on, like smartphones really weren't around.
Hmm.
You know, I grew up, I went in college, we had word processors.
Yeah.
So, you know, technology for me has always been a way to enhance the learning experience. So I founded Luma with Scott, my husband. He's an engineer, and we would always debate how engineers learned or how he learned versus how adults in general learn quote unquote best. And the idea is that, you know, obviously everyone is unique. And so it just reinforced this idea of how do you deliver education. And there was adaptive learning, and I had been exposed. I was the director of online learning at a university, overseeing all the online programs when they first were getting set up and across the
Well,
universities across the state. So I had experience with a lot of learning management systems, and I knew the science. Those weren't built by learning scientists. they were built by computer engineers, and there's a difference between engineering and learning. And so, but when you can partner with someone that can actually build something that you imagine, that's where it all kind of came from. And we didn't actually start in trucking and logistics, we started in higher ed. So,
Yeah.
we pivoted from higher ed, and there's reasons why, but we did see an opportunity in an industry where you could actually save lives.
You basically used all the things that you learned, and then you just bribed your husband into this.
Exactly, exactly. He got pulled
The
in.
best.
Yes, he could build what I imagined, and that's the
Yeah.
thing. You can't do anything in life alone. You need to have
No.
partnerships. You need to have people who have more skills than you do in certain areas to make whatever you're going to create the best that you can create. And so, if you're a teacher and you're listening, or you're in your classroom, I was a classroom teacher. Who would have ever thought a seventh grade classroom teacher could create an award winning company, And I think that you just have to have the belief and the partnerships to be able to do it.
Exactly. And that's important that you mentioned because you just didn't win one award, but the company, and that means you, people who founded the company, you just getting awards all the time.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, when you can make a difference for an
Yeah.
industry, for your team, for whatever you are aimed to set to do, you can win. You set the context of your ability to win. The only thing that's going to hold you back is your own mindset. It's like
Mhm.
you keep waiting. It's inertia. It's foundational to entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs that never make it past that bump, I call it, like, what am I going to do next? It's an inertia that holds you back, and so you have to continue to see things that happen in your journey not as failure but as learning, and learn from those things to
Yeah.
continue moving forward towards your goal. There's no such thing as failure. It's just not, what's failing is not trying to do something.
Exactly. And so failing is actually is a sign that you're doing something.
Absolutely, well, good or bad, it's you're making progress.
Totally, yes. And it's also so interesting that you have also something very special, a curriculum on kindness.
Oh, I love that curriculum.
It's for anybody, right? I guess it's but
Yeah.
especially for it can be elementary school level children, middle school, high school, and it's called the Honey Foundation Kindness Curriculum. And you could
Yes.
tell us a little bit about this curriculum, what makes it special, and also where I still include the in the show notes links, but where can someone maybe access it? They can always probably message you too, but
So I'll tell you a little story about where this came from, and it's beautiful. So Justin and Jamie Clark are in the transportation logistics industry. Justin specifically has a staffing company in logistics, and we work together in that space. And one day, Justin and his wife Jamie came to me and they said, Gina, we would love, they have the Honey Foundation, non for profit. Justin's twin brother passed away. They set it up because of all the kindness his brother showed out in, real life, doing just these incredible acts of kindness. And so I was at the point where the truck drivers were saying they were depressed. They needed something, they needed hope. And we worked out a collaboration where we created a curriculum, and I helped them for K all the way through
yeah,
adult. And then we took the curriculum for the adults and offered it to the truck drivers. So the curriculum itself, what makes it beautiful is it's grounded on the principle of these little things that you can do in your life, just little moments. They're free little moments that can happen that can change not only your life, but the lives of other people. And the Honey Foundation has an enormous amount of different resources for teachers. And one of them is our curriculum that is offered at enuggetlearning.com. And it's found at Be Kind. So we'll put the link in there, but the
hmm
curriculum itself is for the learners, it's for the children. The teacher can go in and they can use it in a blended way where they share the curriculum and they do the activities. It's very much activity driven where you go out and do these beautiful things, not only for other people, but around the school, around the community.
Yeah.
And there are a series of days that gives you some ideas because people are always like, well, what do I do to be kind? Like I can be
Yeah.
kind, like what do I do? It's like I don't know. So we wanted to give a pathway forward for little itty bitty kids like
Yeah.
kindergarten and first grade to be able to have assistance from a teacher to do these things. And then as the older children and adults, it gives them strategies. And they have all of our mascots in it. I have a mascot. This is my mascot. This is Nugget. Nugget is our mascot. Nugget and Nugget's friends are in the curriculum and give you lots of opportunities to spread joy, love, and hope and learning anywhere
That's
you want to go. So
awesome.
this is my sunshine jar. And there's a little, this is a good example of kindness. There's 100 little notes in here that you can open up and give to people. And every day, this one says right here, this says, every day is a chance for a new beginning. And, it can really help you set the context of your day. But that's just an example of something that you can do at your, do for other people. Give them a
I
little
love
note.
that. I'm just thinking this could be just a real cool strategy. Kids, let's say they work on kindness. Everybody can they can come up with these notes. Let's say let's create 10 notes that
Yeah,
has some kind of kind message, and the teacher can really use, of course, all kind of creativity here. It can be on colorful paper. I mean, again, sky is the limit.
yes,
Here goes your writing activity too, because they need to write something, and then they
right.
can roll them like you did. They can
Yeah,
put them in special containers. It can be like a little paper box that says kindness messages or something even
pick them
more.
up. Hmm.
Yeah, and they can maybe even have a task to pick a, I don't know, another class in the school or something, and they could deliver it. And I guess something like that, right? It could be just as simple as that.
Absolutely. And it doesn't have to be fancy paper. You could do it on line paper. Make
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to cost a lot of money. You could put the notes in the office and as people come in, they
Yeah,
could take a note as they come in. It could be anybody, it could be there's just so much opportunity just from that one little simple activity example to spread
totally.
kindness.
It could be in the classroom itself. If there's groups of kids, they can create notes. Just every kid creates a note for every child. So if you have a classroom of 20 kids, can you imagine everybody gets like what, 20 kindness messages?
Yeah, exactly. So I went to the elementary last year. I was invited to go to the elementary school in Mount Pleasant, South
Mm-hmm.
Carolina. And what they did is Nugget actually went on a visit there. It's my mascot. And they took rocks, they went out and they did kind of the kindness rock project where they went out and they collected rocks and then each classroom painted the rocks and it was the second, third and fourth grade and then the sixth graders went and kind of oversaw, but they went and they put rocks all around the community and they were able to give back and it was just so beautiful and the younger kids and the older kids collaborated.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that was really cost money was the paint, but they already had that through the art department. So they were
Yeah.
able to create this amazing community of love and kindness, and it was a celebration. And the kids were really wound up. It was great. I love being there, and I realized, why I became a classroom teacher to begin with.
And I just got another idea because, as you know, I have a therapy dog. So
Yes,
any kind of ideas that I hear about, and I hear about so many incredible ideas from you, I just filter through this therapy dog. Thank you.
yes.
Kids can create kindness notes for their therapy dog.
Oh,
How
I
about
love
that? And
that.
then the therapy dog handler, which is me, a partner, I can read them to my dog and note of Carmel's reaction to them. So then I can tell
Yeah.
the children. But I love it. Very simple activity. All these things are simple. It's just that we need to find the time to, and as teachers too. And it doesn't have to be a massive amount of time, just a little bit of some 5 minutes. It doesn't really cost much time to do this and then just sharing with each other and just making each other feel better, right? Like I would do it on Monday.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's so important because you don't know what the kids are struggling with and what's
No.
on their mind and what they had to deal with in the morning at their home. And it's just, there's just so much going on these days with families and everyone's under a lot of stress. And, these little things we can do for each other make such a big impact. They really help with
Yeah.
the dopamine and our chemicals and our cortisol levels. And it goes back to the science and our mindsets and how it really does move ourselves forward.
That's amazing. Yes. And I know that we could talk forever,
Yes.
but I absolutely love how you described to us what this actual training for truck drivers would look like. It was amazing. And also the value of the curriculum. We're going to all include those show notes. Now, towards the end of our chat, if there is something you would like to highlight, you just came up with the new book, which is an amazing book called Thrive. And anybody who is looking for ideas and like how to get unstuck from being maybe stuck, having the dreams but not knowing like what to do, and maybe sometimes we are overwhelmed. It's like I would fulfill my dream, but I have this to do and that to do. Well, guess what? There's still a way of making progress towards your dream, and I think that's what your book is about.
Yeah.
So please share with us a little bit more your method.
Yeah, I wrote the book because I was giving presentations last year and I was standing in front of 2 to 300 people at this presentation and I asked the group, I said, how many of you in this room feel like fours and fives? And I looked around and it was like, how many people do you think? It was like three people and I couldn't believe it. And I
God,
was like, you're kidding, right? I'm like, how many? I mean, I thought it was because after lunch, they were just so tired, but that's kind of the state we're in, people aren't feeling good. And the thing is that really it's our own minds that control how we feel, and we let external events, external things in our lives are real things that happen, but we hold on to those things. And
mm-hmm.
it could have happened yesterday and we're still thinking and ruminating and like, it's just creating cortisol and just like making us feel worse and we get emotional, and it's okay. I mean, we have to recognize those thoughts, but I wrote my book to help people who are depressed, who are feeling anxious, move forward and know that your story is just beginning. You don't have to hold on to whether it's grief, whether it's abuse, whether it's loss. I mean, whatever it is that
Yeah.
you're holding on to, I wanted to give specific ways of letting those things go to move forward. I mean, I grew up with nothing. I didn't have anything. I mean, I didn't have a whole lot growing up. And people assume if you are in a business owner or you are in charge of something successful that something must have been given to you, or
Yeah.
somehow this just, no, it's hard work. This isn't easy stuff.
Well, somehow
Changing
it
your
somehow it
mindset.
happened easily and quickly. It's so very easy to think that way, isn't it?
Exactly.
I can catch myself thinking like that too. I don't think about this like that anymore. I realize how much hard work and what we see and what we don't see. But many people, I think it's just very easy to think that it was just kind of easy because, I mean, they see you already on social media when you have success, right? They haven't seen you when you were working towards it and struggling at the beginning. And there is always a struggle anyway. We never like achieved something and then it's just easy from that moment.
Right, right. It's always comparing yourself. Like people,
Yeah.
we really have to stop comparing. We have to stop wanting more, like more likes, more followers,
Oh, God.
more content, more. And really our mindset is to be present in the moment, because when you can be
Mhm.
present in the moment and care in that moment about that person and where your mind is and harness your true self,
Yeah.
that really makes you feel better and it helps you move forward. So all this other stuff that's going on, I wanted to write a book to help people to change lives. Again, I started the podcast like this has always been my true self and my purpose. Everything I do comes from a place of love and care, and I honestly wrote the book for that. I give it away for free. I went to North Carolina Trucking
It's
Association and
amazing.
gave away like 163 books, and it's not for me about making money, it's about changing lives. And I think that is key. You have to really pay attention to where your mind is and help it yourself move forward.
It's just amazing. And you're just such an incredible person. You are yourself,
Oh,
authentic person, because what we see is what you are. And that's just so incredible in today's world. Now, I do have your book, but it is somewhere here in my room. Sorry about that. It is. Do you
I
have
do.
your book handy to
Let
show
me
the
see. Yeah,
cover?
let me
That
get
would be
it. Hold
great.
on.
I can go and fish out for that too, but
Okay.
you will. I thought you would be quicker, and sure you are.
All right, so this is the book that we were just talking about. This
Yes.
is how learning can ignite a new way forward, thrive. And I published this in January. It was published on my mom's birthday. She's no longer with us, but it just so happened it was by chance that it was published on her birthday. This is
Yeah.
another book I wrote. This is a book, I was a contributing author. And the reason I wrote this chapter, this is about perspectives on invisible illnesses.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote that book because it goes back to what I said before that people make assumptions on people and what their life is like. But you just have to remember you have no idea what a person has been through and what their life has
Mm-hmm.
been like. And so when someone is mean or lashes out or, isn't very kind to you, the best thing you can do is show compassion and grace. That doesn't mean it's right. It just means they're probably going through something that you have no idea, and
Yeah.
you don't have to overshare. It's just about being connected at a human level with people. And it was the first time I shared my story on here because I kept hearing in the news all this negativity about women business owners that don't have children. And so I wanted to share my story and I thought it was important. So,
Yeah. It
anyway,
was.
I think those are both important books and stories. So I'm happy to share them.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I read the book Thrive, and it was just so uplifting and had so many different, also like more practical points where someone can like really reflect on that and do some actually work, like real little exercises to, because sometimes we just kind of like wait for the motivation to do something, but sometimes you actually can get motivated by first doing something, and you do a very good job with that. It's like you can do something very little to get motivated actually.
Yeah,
Doesn't have
like
to be
getting out of
hard.
bed on Mondays can be hard, right? Like just
Oh
getting out
yeah.
of bed, it's like, oh my
Yep.
goodness, but get out of bed and go look at the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Smell the beautiful spring, just for 5 minutes. It doesn't even have to be long,
No.
just just thank the world for you being here. Today's another
Yeah.
day to make a difference and you can. And so I wanted to give strategies to help people move forward.
Yeah, that's amazing. And we have a very kind of cloudy sky today in upstate New York. And there was some other things going on in the morning. So I didn't go out to just have like my 5 minutes. I just like to see the sky. And I love to hear birds singing and like see what they're doing. Like, I don't know exactly what they're doing, but I think they're getting ready for building nests. So I know something. And I just like thank for being able to see this, right? See the bird
Yeah.
action and hear them singing. It just makes me feel so great right away. Very little action is needed to just get us into like more motivational mode, so to speak. I am so grateful for this chat with you,
Thank
and
you so much.
you're very welcome. And I would like you to tell our audience where they can follow you, support you. Where are you on social media?
Aw, thank you, Barbara. The best place to follow me is on LinkedIn. I do a lot of thought leadership. I publish for Inc. magazine. All of my work is there. We'll share that in the chat. You can also listen to my podcast. It's about people
Yeah.
who've overcome the impossible. You can like and follow my YouTube channel. It's on Spotify. But definitely, I'm also on Instagram, but Barbara's been helping me with that. I'm fairly new to Instagram. I think she's the one that motivated me to be on Instagram. So I don't know I'll try my best. That's all I can say. That's all we all can say.
Yeah,
But
we all
I'd love to
do.
hear from you. If you need support, know you're not alone. Definitely reach out, follow. I'm happy to help anyone any way I can. So thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much, Gina. We are so grateful to have you here on this chat on Get Inspired with Dr. Barb, because that's all we do. We just share inspiring stories and even real strategies. And you shared some very simple strategies for kindness, for doing this work in the classroom. Can be done with kindergartner, can be done with high schooler, right? Because we all need to learn that. And my dog could take a part in that too.
That's perfect. We all need that.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you so much.
thank you so much too. And to our audience, please make sure to follow Get Inspired with Dr. Barb so you'll get the update right away that's a new episode is published. And I will let you all know too when Gina's episode will be published, because I will be posting the clips on social media. Thank you so much. It was absolute pleasure.